Here we are again.
The old Locacacast train is pulling back into the station.
Yes, and we have a new layout, or so I'm
It's
told.
the same layout, just slightly differently colored.
It's the same layout.
New, classic, original, improved. You've never seen anyone like it.
New layout, same as the old layout.
Long live the old layout is dead. Long live the layout. Yeah, we're a little pinker today. How are you doing? We here at the Locacacast are a little pink this month. That's
I'm
nice.
doing good.
Oh, I was asking the audience. It was a when
Oh,
Dora
okay.
asks you left, right, or center kind of thing. I was leaving a blank
Okay.
space for them to respond with how they were doing.
Well,
But
I've
how are
just
you,
gone and
Merk?
ruined that then. I'm good.
Awesome.
So this month I started. I was telling Zach before the show that I started watching Monty Python's Flying Circus. I went into great detail with him. I'm not going to go into great detail. I don't think it's that relevant
Yeah, I'm a big fan, so I
to.
was having fun talking about it before the show started.
I don't think it's that relevant to the chapter that we have to discuss this month. But what is relevant is I did finally see Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, hell yeah! Nice. What did
and
you
it couldn't have
think?
come and it couldn't have come at a more perfect time because this chapter does have a reference to Reservoir Dogs.
Oh my God, does it? I missed it. I didn't know.
We'll get into that when we actually start the chapter
Okay.
discussion. But
Cross that bridge when we get there.
yeah, Reservoir Dogs. It feels like in many ways a student film. Like low budget, small cast. Um,
One location for the most part.
one location for the most part. Yeah.
And I feel like
Um,
it totally would have been had Quentin Tarantino not managed to get the script in front of Harvey Keitel that day. Because then Harvey was like, look, kid, I like the script. We're going to do this picture. I'll be in it. And then they sort of
and
secured
it's
financing on that basis.
and it's short, one and a
Yeah.
half hours.
It's a tight film. Really, really like
Um,
it. What did you think of the core of the movie? We've got the relationship between Mr. Orange and Mr. White. It's all built on a lie. That's very JoJo to me. Like the reveal of the character's true intentions coming when it's far too late to do anything about it.
I think actually the cast could have been smaller. There were Mr. Blue was barely utilized.
Barely at all. Same with Mr. Brown, who is just there to say the N-word in the opening.
He's there to be
Tarantino.
the director cameo.
Yeah,
But also,
Tarantino puts
but he
himself
does,
in his own
but
movie
he
so he can
but he
say the
does actually
N-word. He does it twice in a row.
factor
Two
into
movies in a row he does it.
he does actually factor into the narrative later though.
Yes.
Um, if we can go briefly into spoilers for this classic film,
Yeah, if you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, I don't know, go fuck
skip
yourself.
skip ahead a bit.
Yeah.
What did you think about? What did you think happened in the end? Do you think that Mr. White shot Mr. Orange?
Oh, 100%. I mean, his face is just like pure anguish and sorrow. He doesn't have anything on his mind but betrayal in that moment. The cops come through the door, but his biggest concern is how he... this quote, I forget what it's from, but it goes so hard. It's so raw. Your greatest crime is that you have compromised yourself for nothing. So
But here's the
he's
thing.
compromised himself for nothing, and in that moment, I feel all he feels is betrayal, and he's definitely going to shoot Mr. Orange in the head when those cops bust through that door.
But here's the thing. You read the subtext of the film, right? And it's all about police brutality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you see Mr. White hesitate when the cops actually bust in.
Yeah.
So I don't actually think that he was going to shoot Orange at the end. I think that one of the cops got an itchy trigger finger, and then hearing the shot, the rest of them shot.
Just as likely, because we're zoomed in too far to see Mr. White's hand at the time of that first shot that triggers the volley. Very plausible. And I mean, the movie does have this very, like, the police are not your friends stance. You remember when he's talking to Mr. Pink in the bathroom, and he's like, did you kill anybody? No, just some cops. No real people? No, just cops.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
real people. Anyways, I
And then you
love
have,
that you saw this film, because I was
and then
trying
you
to
have,
say at the end of the first JoJoLands chapter, this is a fucking quirky crime thriller. This is a Tarantino film.
And then you have Mr. Blonde, Vic Vega,
Mm-hmm.
Vincent's brother.
Yeah, they never got that Vega Brothers movie, but they are brothers.
No, I wish they had. That
Yeah.
would have been something to see.
Yeah,
Maybe
Travolta and Madsen.
Maybe they can do like some like surreal, like they meet in hell or whatever.
Yeah, two geriatric men at this point.
Have a conversation in hell.
That's funny. Have you
Anyway.
seen Community?
I have seen Community, yes.
Remember the episode in the 6th season where they make that terrible movie using Chang's leftover footage? And Jeff is like, don't cut my scene. The last thing my character says to him is, I'll see you in hell. Like, this is an important scene. So they give him an Easter egg after credits thing where he's in hell and he's like, I told you I'd see you in hell, Captain. It's awesome. Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway.
Perhaps
Monty
my
Python's
favorite bit of
Flying
Reservoir
Circus.
Dogs is the little Mexican standoff at the end.
And Reservoir Dogs, good film.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Zach? What's been going on with you?
Oh, God. I mean, it's too hot to handle. I've been doing things I can't talk about on the podcast. I've just been doing my regular shit of, like, just signing up for slightly too much at once in life. But, you know, I've been going places.
Like when you volunteered to make the new layout.
Yeah. I mean, my life has been good recently. There's stuff happening constantly. I'm no longer lonely and just living in my room like I was, like, at the start of the first run of the Locacacast, when we first started doing the JoJolian thing. Now I'm, like, going outside all the time, and I've got shit to do, and I've got this girl that I like, and so I'm being pulled in so many different directions, and I don't have time for everything that I signed up to do and said I would do. But I think that's a good problem to have. I think it's better than being lonely and having nothing to do. So, although it freaks me out sometimes and I get stressed, I think I'm doing good. It's a good kind of pain. I'm very vague with my month summaries. I don't know what to say. Because when you ask me, I look back on a month and I'm like, geez, how have I been doing?
It's like normally I don't do a lot in a month, but like this time I did a lot, and then you're like, oh geez, oh fuck, what did I do that? Your summary was better than mine.
Well, when I look back, it's like I think, like, what didn't I do? Fuck, like what am I allowed to talk about on the podcast? I don't know, man. I just been out there snorting lines and shagging nines. You know what I'm saying?
What haven't I signed an NDA on?
Yeah, I don't know. We popping bottles. We living it up. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should pop fewer bottles and live it up a little bit less. Maybe stay focused on important things. But having a good time is very alluring, so I often end up doing that. Anyway.
Oh, that's good.
Things are going okay for the Zach man. He's treading water. He's not sinking. All right.
All right.
Motherfucking JoJoLands.
Let's say we get into this.
Excellent. Hey, but that was a record low bullshit quota for us. We only talked about bullshit for like 9 minutes.
That wasn't the bullshit quota. That was the month.
Fuck. Okay, fine. We'll add to it later. Okay.
Bullshit quota is later.
So first of all, dope ass pose on the chapter page. Second of all, does he have an arm tattoo?
I don't think so. I think that's
something.
I think that's. No, I don't. Hold on. What is?
I don't know either.
I have no idea.
Me neither. Awesome. An ambitious seedling. He sets his sights on being filthy rich. This is a pretty cool pose. I like that he's brought back the Jotaro finger point in a subtle way here. I like that we're in front of the palm fronds. I really dig Hawaii as a setting for a JoJo part. We've never been here before in all of JoJo, and I think it's really neat.
You know what's interesting is, like, in general, this chapter felt like uh almost like a do-over of chapter 1, because, like, this could have been his first appearance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in a weird way, we kind of just immediately redo the cop fight from chapter 1, and it doesn't quite make sense to me because I'll bring up I have a timing issue with this. So at the end of the last chapter, they're like, "All right, we're going to go and do the heist now. Yeah, let's go do it. This is what we're going to go do tonight, and we're going to be back tomorrow." So then, at what point do we have time for the group to split up and for Jodio to just be independently selling drugs in front of, might I add, the Hawaiian Supreme Court building? Like, that statue and that building, I saw on Twitter, somebody was like, "I knew that statue was familiar. God damn it, Jodio, what are you trying to sell drugs in front of the federal hall for?"
So, you know what the other thing is? Like, I noticed, like, I have this theory that during the pandemic, Araki might have binged a lot of, like, a lot of things on streaming. Like, maybe he watched Reservoir Dogs recently, and I think he might have also watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, because this is literally Badger getting busted in season 2, episode 8, Better Call Saul.
I was going to say that. I had it written down. Better Call Saul opening drug bust scene.
Dude,
the episode,
crazy.
not to be confused with the show Better Call Saul.
The cold open of the episode Better Call Saul has been repurposed wholesale for this chapter of JoJoLands. I was gonna call it JoJolian.
Right down to, she tells him, "You know, if I'm an undercover cop and you ask me, I have to tell you that I am."
Yeah, which is a goofy ass lie in the show, just like it is here in the manga. But, like, you know, in the show, the guy is like, the guy is like, "Dude, just ask me." Like, he's pretending that he's also just like a wastoid stoner type dude. In this one, she's like extra silly, which gets his guard down. Also, Jodio is playing his Nintendo Switch right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but on the next page, there's literally, like, there's a little close-up of it, and it has the volume buttons and the power, and you can see a Joy-Con. Yeah. Wonder what games he's got. Is he playing Breath of the Wild? He's probably playing Fortnite.
Do they have that on the Switch now?
Yeah, no, there's Fortnite on the Switch. 100% there is.
Interesting.
I mean, he's a fucking Zoomer. He's 15 years old in 2022/3. So this kid definitely knows all the Fortnite dances.
He's definitely default dancing daily.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, remember at the beginnings of JoJolian where Josuke would consciously pose? Like, he would be like, let me tell you, I've won. And he would say that, and he would strike a pose. This is the equivalent to that, where he's gonna beat some ass in a stand battle and just immediately
say something cool, Josuke.
He's gonna default dance on him. Yeah, anyway. Say something cool, Josuke. I missed that. Anyway, the chapter begins. Jodio, this dipshit, is selling drugs in front of, like, the Hawaiian Supreme Court building or their federal hall or something. I mean, this is not, like, this is a terrible spot to set up, Jodio. But, you know, he's a boy. We'll give him a pass.
He falls for the dumbest lie that you can fall for.
He falls for the old, "if I was a cop, I would legally have to tell you that I was" trick. And also, like, I wonder what drug they're selling. Because, you know, I thought we were coke dealers. But now,
Meth.
Here we are, and she's like, "I've got a big test this weekend, and I need that stuff." So, like, Adderall? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Does cocaine help you take a test? Not in my experience. I don't know what drug they're selling.
Is meth a stimulant or a relaxant?
Oh, definitely a stimulant. Could be meth.
Maybe it's probably meth, considering this is a wholesale Breaking Bad reference.
I mean, it fucking could be. The only thing that makes me think no is that when we saw the stuff inside of the surfboard that they were transporting before, it was like, looked like bricks of coke. It looked like powdery. But, you know, one way or the other, they could be doing multiple things. That could have been what was in the surfboard, but that's not the main thing they're selling. But I wanted to bring this up. I saw on Twitter that somebody was like, "It's cool that we're being vague about what exactly it is we're selling, because that leaves the door open for this to be some sort of, like, magical stand-influenced drug. Like, you know, in Purple Haze Feedback, which I still haven't read, but in Purple Haze Feedback, what's the fucking name of that stand? Yes, okay, Massimo Volpe, who is the main antagonist of Purple Haze Feedback. His stand, Manic Depression, can synthesize a powerful opiate and manipulate the body's chemical balance. So he's sort of like, we've got magic stand drugs already in Purple Haze Feedback, and like he synthesizes them with his stand. This is why he's on Passione's drug team, and yeah. Also, I think isn't he? I think he's Tonio's brother or cousin or something. Yeah. Tonio Trussardi's real name is Antonio Volpe. He's the brother of Massimo Volpe, the antagonist. Anyway, whatever. God damn it. I kind of blew us off track there. But my point being, I like how we're being drugged. I like how we're being vague with what drug these drug dealers are selling, because it leaves open the door that this could be some sort of magical stand-influenced drug, like Massimo Volpe's Manic Depression, synthesizing the opiates that the Passione drug team used to sell. And I feel like if we're doing Breaking Bad, it would be cool to have a blue meth equivalent. Something only our characters can make.
I don't know. I thought this was going to be focused on the heist, so, like, it feels like these could just be regular drugs.
Maybe so, but the door is open. The door hasn't been closed on this possibility. Anyway, so he changes his tune and he's like, yeah, I will sell to you, which is, like, the thing he always does. Like, he's always like, fuck off, I don't know you, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they leave, and he's like, hey, what'd you give it up so soon for? This is just like his move. This is just how he operates.
Alright, and then,
Breaking Bad scene.
He fights with the police again. And defeats them in exactly the same way as last time.
Yeah,
We don't see a new aspect to his stand, which is disappointing considering this is just the first chapter done over again.
A little bit disappointing. I feel like there was no real reason to have this happen other than that he watched Breaking Bad and he thought it was funny and he wanted to do it to his new drug dealer character. But something else I wanted to mention about Araki, in between the hiatus between parts, did you read the Rohan chapter, the spoke Ishibe Rohan, where he's like having the pandemic happen to him?
No.
I did not either, but I saw a screen cap of it that someone had posted, and it was of Rohan in the Hot Summer Martha chapter, which is the pandemic one, and he was like wearing a mask, and he was like, God damn it, I mean, like, I'm an artist, so I can just live in this room forever and keep doing my art, and I'll be fine. But research, going outside, traveling to strange distant lands and seeing new things, that's what I long for, and that's what I can't do with these restrictions. So I think that's Araki literally saying, I want so badly to see the world again, to have my creative juices flow again.
He definitely Netflix binged during the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
That he didn't.
And then I think his editor, Izumi, says to Rohan, you know, once these restrictions are lifted, you can travel anywhere you like, I promise. So this is Rohan after that going to Hawaii. Finally, the pandemic's winding down.
Oh, you're skipping way ahead, because that's I didn't see that coming at all.
Everybody knows that happens now, though. It's okay to talk about it a little early. But here's the thing: the Rohan in that chapter, on his phone, you see the Morio logo, and it's the old Morio logo from the Part 4 Morio with no crown. He's got a Morio social media app, and you see the logo, and it's the old one. So that wasn't actually like a stealth backdoor thing, but I am talking about that too early. Anyway, she pulls a gun out of somewhere. I don't know where she was hiding that.
Yeah, no, where did that come from, actually?
Yeah, what is that supposed to be? What? Is it a bag? Where is that supposed to be? I mean, she's like wearing a tiny jacket and a swimsuit. And a sarong. There's no place to reach in for that.
Does the sarong have a pocket on the inside? I don't know.
I have no fucking clue. Anyway, this silly-ass woman brings out her gun and is going to shoot him. The DEA tackles Paco in the distance, tackles him off his scooter. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I missed that on my first read.
The hilarious, like, zoomed out.
Yeah, the
Paco
faraway
just eating shit in the
Iraqi art style.
background.
Alright, so, you know, cameras, read them their rights and lock them up. Yeah, and then the pervert cop who was molesting Dragona in the first chapter.
Which establishes that this did happen after the first chapter.
Yeah, which is...
But somehow before the heist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When did our team split up and just go hang out for a few hours separately to sell drugs independently in front of the Hawaiian City Hall?
Well, there might have been like a gap period between the fight with the cops in the first chapter and Meryl May giving them the lowdown on the heist.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like chapter 1 part A happens, and then chapter 2 part A, and then chapter 1 part B, chapter 2 part B.
I don't know if it goes like that, but hey, whatever. It just seems a little weird that it felt like at the end of chapter 1 we were building up such momentum. We were like, alright, we're going to do a heist. And then started chapter 2, we kind of immediately wind it back and do a remix of the first chapter's fight again.
Well, this is still preferable to like what Murata does with One Punch Man, where he'll just like go back and redraw entire chapters, and that will they'll change major details, and that'll render like the previous canon no longer canon. So like you really need to keep up with
not only the month by month chapters, but all of the updates. You got to also pick up every Tankobon volume.
You got to read the patch notes.
You do. You literally do. Because I could be reading week by week, month by month, and all of a sudden the story would stop making sense to me because I only read the initial versions. I didn't read any of the revised shit, which is what he's now working from. That's a terrible way to do it, might I add. I don't want patch notes for my manga. Anyway, I like how Jodio, he's selling drugs in front of the fucking Hawaiian Hall of Justice. I'm just going to call it a different thing every time because I don't know what it is. I just know it's a government
Hall of
building.
Justice.
Yeah. I've called it City Hall, Federal Hall, and the Supreme Court building so far, and I don't know what it is. So now it's the Hall of Justice.
This is where the Hawaiian Justice League hangs out.
Yeah. There's the Hawaiian Fortress of Solitude, but it's on Maui. Anyway. So this perv cop is like, I'm gross. That's what's gonna happen. He says I'm gonna haul you into the back of a dark concrete room. Like, this is the worst. As if Araki wanted to be perfectly sure, 100% to the core, that we would be down to kill this cop. Like, he doesn't want us to have any compunctions about it. And I like how Jodio's first instinct upon getting arrested for selling drugs in front of the Hall of Justice is that, you know what, I should have killed these cops the other day. Instead of like, maybe this one's on me. Maybe that wasn't a good spot to be selling. He's like, no, I should have used...
Maybe I shouldn't have sold in front of 5-0 headquarters.
5-0 headquarters. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in his mind that this is because he didn't use enough violence the other day. He only used some incredible violence. He should have used even more. And then he's like, you don't matter? By the way, I know my big bro is cute, so don't say it again, I'll let you off the hook. Like, what the hell is that? And then the rain comes down, and it's crazy,
There's a little bit of George R.R. Martin creeping in here.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't like it. But it's interesting, because check this out. The rain hits her, and it seems to affect her like normal raindrops. But then it fires like bullets through the fucking... through the drug bag. The evidence bag, yes. So he can control which things it attacks versus which things just behaves like normal rain for? Yeah, because we're supposed to totally think that, because we have this big shot of her standing there, and then we have a little interstitial of the raindrop landing on her finger, gently falling off, going onto the bag, and then it's heavy, and then it pierces the bag. So he can decide which things specifically get November rained and which things get regular rained. If that's what the takeaway from this is supposed to be. Because then she doesn't look like she's getting...
If you have a wide area of effect stand like that, it's probably more useful if you can actually control the targets.
You ever play Hades?
No.
My favorite upgrade for the gun weapon is the one that makes your bomb 3 times as large and do 300% more damage, but it can hurt you too. So that would be like what November Rain would be if you didn't have this control.
Well,
over
you know what that would make November Rain more like?
What?
Purple Haze.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, that totally is the thing. The upgrade is called Hazard Bomb, but it should be called Purple Haze. November Rain. I wanted to say something to these people. Yeah, he wants to gloat a little bit more. He wants to fucking... See? I told you, you dorks. Don't fuck with me. But yeah, isn't it interesting how last part we had Josuke getting hit by the raindrops during Calamity, and the raindrops like fired like bullets through his face? And now, in the next part, we have a character who, like, that's his whole ability. Just the raindrop part of the Calamity.
Yeah. And like I said last month, it seems like a really narrow ability for a protagonist to have.
Yeah, which is why I'm not sure, like... I don't know why Araki felt the need to redo this whole thing and give us another example of him using his stand if it was just going to be basically the same use case.
Oh, did we talk about last time our speculation on how he might expand this ability?
I think we did, but I think we talked about it more on Discord afterwards.
Yeah, we talked about. I know we talked about it in Discord chat, but for the audience, what I thought was going to happen was it's going to be like Soft and Wet, like a do-over of Soft and Wet, but as a main protagonist stand. Because if you remember, that stand was also underutilized in Part 5. Or not Soft and Wet, fucking Spice Girl. That was what it was.
Ah, Spice Girl. That's funny because it makes things soft. Yeah. So you were predicting that it was sort of like Spice Girl in nature, where it makes things soft and rubbery, but we're just going to get a much cooler version of that ability. I was thinking that he's able to make rain with different properties, because like in the first chapter, he touches the truck, and then he calls down the rain, and it like flattens the guys. So I figured that he applied the weight of the truck by touching it to the raindrops. But I don't think that's the case now with this, because then what did he touch to make this happen? I have no clue. So my original theory was like rain with different properties. Maybe he can make rain that's smelly. Maybe he can make rain that's Mountain Dew. Maybe he can, whatever. Maybe he can make it rain oil and have it be like an oil slick.
Make rain that's the fake vat of acid.
Yeah, the fake vat of acid. That is my favorite episode of the entire series.
It is?
It is. It's my favorite episode. I love it. The dynamic between Rick and Morty in the opening, their argument is like, I don't think it's ever been struck a more perfect balance between like the funny thing they do where they sort of treat them like a bickering couple versus like their actual relationship as like grandfather and grandson and scientist and assistant. I don't think there's ever been a funnier, more perfect balance struck than their arguing dialogue at the beginning. A vat of fake acid? Are you dying of dementia? When did you get so cocky? Tonight! The night I saw you fail! It's so good. The dialogue's incredible. Anyway, that's my favorite episode.
So anyway,
you got me talking about the vat of acid, man. Now we got to sew anyway back into normalcy.
And now for something completely different.
Yes. All right, continue. After the bag gets busted, what were we going to talk about?
It goes into his personality.
Yeah, this was interesting. This is something that I liked. Also, like, did he kill the cops this time? Because just don't turn off the don't turn off the stand ability. These guys deserve it. Also, I like how Paco says, "Hey, this is your range, Jodio? Nice. I'm really starting to like this guy." It gives me Jotaro looking at Koichi and being like, starting to appreciate him kind of vibes. Yeah, so he goes and he takes the psychological test. So he's a psychopath. And I just feel like if he is supposed to be some sort of Brando, then this is awesome, and I love this choice, because this is totally what would happen to Dio if he was born in 2015 instead of 1872. You know what I mean? Like, the school would call his parents and be like, this boy ain't right. He would literally be getting sent to the principal's office all the time. I like how this is an expression of the Dio within him, if there is that.
Well, it's like we see this in like chapter 1 where he jumps the guy immediately as soon as the guy comes up and starts asking to buy drugs.
Uh-huh. But I think that was like,
and it's actually a little more like Fugo, if you recall his.
Yeah, no, you're right. Fugo got kicked out of his school, and he had this. They didn't like give him a diagnosis, but he definitely had just like a weirdness to him as a child.
Which I guess would be appropriate given that his stand is sort of like a wide area stand.
Yeah, an uncontrollable rage monster. I mean, that's what because like when I read the manga originally for Part 5, they didn't understand Fugo's character at all, and they just kind of made him the Hulk. Like, he was just like, rah, Fugo smash, you know? Like, in the scene where he's supposed to be teaching Narancia math, like, gently and carefully and calmly and patiently, and then Narancia gets it wrong and he stabs Narancia in the face with a fork. In that scene, in the shitty translation of the manga that I originally read, he was just like, rah, you're stupid, you don't get it, the whole time. There was none of this, he's trying to keep back this rage. He was just like, they translated him wrong. They translated him like it was the Hulk. So nobody had any appreciation for Fugo till they animated him.
I didn't know the Dwang guys did Part 5.
No, here's the thing: the Dwang scans were so bad that people like knew they were bad, and they needed to get it actually scanlated and in a reasonable format. The Part 5 scans were just not good. But they were still readable. You could still read them and understand the story and get through it, even though, like, shit was mistranslated. This thing is responsible for why nobody understands King Crimson. So, you know, it was like, you get to a certain point.
I think the only scans of those that I read were specifically the King Crimson chapters.
Ah, you went back to see where all the confusion came from?
Well, no, I mean, like, when I was reading through Part 5, those were the only scans of those chapters that were available.
Yeah, yes, that's also my experience. When I started reading, like, JoJo's Colored Adventure has done the first maybe, like, 30 chapters, and then after that, I just get dropped off a cliff into this, like, Comic Sans fucking, like, just the quality of the scans themselves also went down a lot as soon as you get into those older ones. But the thing is, they weren't so bad, they weren't Dwang bad, that people were like, oh, this is obviously unacceptable. This isn't a real way to experience the story. They were just good enough that you felt like you knew what was happening. So people read it and just thought Part 5 was bad. They didn't realize they were getting the short end of the stick. But anyway, yeah, he's giving me some Fugo vibes, as well as Dio in the first place. Do you want to take bets on like who his father is going to be? This is just fucking Star Wars all over again. Who's his dad? Is it Dio? Is it Diego? Is it something? Is it this? Is it nobody? Is nobody cooler than Diego? Or is it Diego is what we really want and nobody would be a disappointment? This is just fucking Star Wars again.
Hasn't Diego been dead for like hundreds of years at this point?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't fuck somebody who then didn't have a baby who then didn't grow up to fuck somebody else. You know, his bloodline could still be around. I mean, is he a descendant of, not is his father.
Oh.
Also,
yeah,
I think he does have
I guess.
some kind of, like, armband wrapped around him. I don't think it's a tattoo. Anyway. Oh, you know what? Can we do something real quick? Let's watch a little video. You remember Aeon Star? I pick on him for being a shitty JoJo tuber, but, you know, he's fine. He's cool. Look at this. We're going to watch this video.
One of the biggest
sure,
mysteries.
put it in the chat for me.
We're going to watch the first... I mean, we could just watch the whole thing. It's 5 minutes long.
One of the biggest...
Go into share screen, actually. That way I can actually see it.
Okay, all right. Will share screen share the audio, though?
Yes, it will. Because remember, this is how we did the Batman LP.
That's true. That's true. Okay, give me 1 second here. Just let me know if you can see this.
Mysteries.
Yep.
Okay,
I
I'm
see
going to
it.
make sure the audience can see it now, too. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes, okay, great. Cool. Excellent. Fuck. Get larger. Become huge. Okay, there we go. Okay, now the audience can see it and you can too? Awesome.
Yep.
Alright, we're going to watch this quick video. Aeon Star put this out, and I thought it was great. It's got a great punchline about a minute and a half in, but then the punchline isn't over. He just keeps going.
Left by the first chapter of the JOJOLands was the nature of
Can you hear
Jodio
okay?
Joestar's lineage. While we know that his mother is Barbara Ann Joestar, sister of Holly Joestar Kira, and hitherto unknown child of Joseph Joestar of the new continuity, the nature of Jodio's paternal side has been left pretty much entirely vague, based on his name, Jodio, and his shared circumstances with Giorno Giovanna of the original continuity. Many have speculated that Jodio is a descendant of Diego from Steel Ball Run, which I believe to be a reasonable stance to take. But, given the large gap in time between Steel Ball Run and the JoJoLands, as well as the new continuity incarnation of Dio lacking any vampiric nature that would allow him to survive the necessary length of time in order to become involved with Barbara Ann, it's more likely that Jodio's father is not Diego, but rather, Diego is his grandfather or great-grandfather. So the question of who exactly Diego had a child with is much less clear. Many presume that it must have been Hot Pants, but the timeline required for this simply does not pan out. There is, however, an alternative scenario worth considering.
You ready?
He fucked the horse! He fucked the horse, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I understand this is a bold claim to make, but stick with me, and I think you'll come to find that the evidence pointing towards this being the case is insurmountable. First and foremost is the lineage of Diego's horse, Silver Bullet. Now, for the duration of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, ever since Stardust Crusaders, members of the Joestar lineage have been equipped with a distinct birthmark denoting themselves as being a member of the bloodline. This mark has remained exclusive to those who are directly descended from a Joestar. Ignore that, ignore that, ignore that, ignore that. Despite this, we've seen another character with the same birthmark. That's right, Diego's horse, Silver Bullet. More like Silver Bullet Joestar. There's more. Now, how did a horse become a member of the Joestar lineage, which is composed of humans? Well, I think the actual question we should be asking is, how did humans become members of the Joestar lineage, which had, in all likelihood, up until now been entirely composed of horses? Therianthropy, that being the shapeshifting of animals into humans, is a common feature of most folklore. And, as we know from the Thus Spoke Rohan Hishibe series, in the universe of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, all forms of mythic belief are real. Most likely, the Joestar family we know of are descendants of horses that shed their animal form in order to become human. This explains the Joestar family's natural equitation abilities. Moreover, horses, of course, have an affinity with water, being descendants of the sea god Poseidon, which explains why Gappy and Jodio are both water-themed. Now, you may be thinking, wouldn't this mean that Jodio has Joestar ancestry on both sides of his family? Isn't that kind of messed up? And yes, that is the most messed up implication. But you would be wrong, because Joseph Joestar only had one child. See, it says it right there. Therefore, Barbara Ann Joestar is, in all likelihood, not related to the Joestars by blood, and Jodio and Dragona's Joestar lineage comes exclusively from their father's side of the family. Now, you may be asking yourself, if Jodio is part horse, then why does he not resemble a horse very much? Surely his horse side would be more visibly apparent. But first off, it's important to remember that he's most likely only 1/4 horse, at most, not full-blooded horse. So his horse traits likely wouldn't be as prominent as his human traits. Hell, we've seen full-blooded horse characters like Whole Horse that still very much resemble him, so this isn't that far-fetched. But make no mistake, Jodio does have visible horse traits. Where, you might ask? Right here. He has a ponytail. The first Ultra Jump cover to feature the JoJoLands even goes so far as to give Jodio a majestic silver mane in honor of his grandmother, Silver Bullet. There's more. We don't actually know for sure where the original Silver Bullet was left following Diego's death. What we do know is that they were last seen a scant distance away from the Delaware River, on the Philadelphia coastline, less than a few hours away from Atlantic City, which is exactly where the Joestar family would come to be situated from the beginning of World War II onwards. The horse is also only 4 years old, which would make Diego a pedophile, but hey, what else is new? The main issue that arises is the question of how. I mean, this isn't Greek mythology we're dealing with here. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a story driven entirely by facts and logic, and it's a fact that horses and humans cannot procreate. That is, under normal circumstances. Because do you know two entities that are, in fact, capable of procreation? That's right, dinosaurs and other dinosaurs. You know where this is going. On those lonely nights out on the American countryside, isolated from civilization for weeks at a time, Diego Brando was brought to desperation. He needed something, someone, to satiate his unending hunger. He looks to his soul companion and speaks a fair few words beneath his breath. Scary monsters. But the scariest monster may very well be Diego himself.
Sir, if you would just please just take a look at my proposal, okay? Because I think you'll find it persuasive.
I don't want it.
Just look at it, sir. Just look. What do you see?
A man fucking a horse.
A man. Fucking a horse.
All right. There we go.
Oh, God.
That's good stuff, right? He fucked the horse! He fucked the horse, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, there's that for you. I think that's the best JoJo content Aeon Star has put out in a little while. I really liked that. I love all of the little gags in that video.
I like how the Greek gods canonically exist in JoJo. Therefore, all of the sexual escapades of Zeus are canon in JoJo. And yet he goes with he goes with the stand explanation instead.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, dinosaurs can fuck other dinosaurs. I mean, it's fucked up. It's weird. I love all the little jokes in there where he's like, only the Joestars have this birthmark. Ignore that, ignore that, ignore that, ignore that. And then a whole horse. We've had many full-blooded horse characters in this story before. I think that's a great video. I like that.
What if Diego turned into a female dinosaur and fucked the horse who was a male dinosaur, and then he
No.
is Diego Loki?
Oh God. All right. Anyways, so back to our 1/8 horse protagonist, Jodio Joestar. I love that he's in the video. He's like, but how did a silver bullet become a Joestar? What we really should be asking is, how did humans become Joestars? Anyway, that's enough of that. He's a psychopath. This is the page we're on. Next page.
Bojo Horseman.
Also, I wanted to share something with you. There's a page wherein he's saying that the lady looks suspicious. And Mr. Hiwa Matanoboru man was called upon on Twitter because, hang on. Oh.
Hanging on.
Hanging on. Yes, excellent. Okay, so when he's talking to lady who's obviously a drug officer on this page, the panel where in the Hiwa Matanoboru translation he says, hey, there's something sort of fishy about you. Aeon Star made an edit where Jodio is like, you're kind of, how do I say this? Kind of sus. And people were like, you dick. But then Permello, animator, came on and said, I'm actually curious if the original Japanese has him saying, I don't know what this is. Ayashi. Right. So I'm curious if the original Japanese has him saying Ayashi, which is, if I recall correctly, the Japanese equivalent of sus used within that translation of Among Us. And Aeon Star says, if it does, sus is now the only valid translation for this panel. And then Cool0210, who is the Hiwa Matanoboru translator, comes in and he says, it is. I was thinking of writing sus, but I figured folks would get weird about it. So anyways, he uses the same language that the Japanese translation of Among Us does.
They would expect translator shenanigans.
Yeah, I know, they would. They literally
in
would.
In actuality, it was Iraqi who was writing it that way.
So anyway, Jodio is a Fortnite Among Us gamer. Going back forward.
Have you heard of the hit game Among Us?
All right, so he's taken the test, 20 question checklist, and 18 of the items applied to me. So my mom yelled back
taking
at
the
them.
twist.
Also, somebody on Twitter, this panel where she's like, "I don't trust it. There must be some mistake. You don't just diagnose a child with that. We want our money back." It's like Mitsuba never left. Here she is. The fucking JoJo moms being Karens and not giving a fuck about what their school says. That's going to be a running thing, I suppose.
Yep, that's very Mitsuba.
Also, she's finally got a speaking role. But I really am curious after watching the "He Fucked the Horse" video. I really am curious. I wonder if Barbara Ann has the birthmark. I wonder if she's actually a Joestar, if she's a Joestar by marriage. I wonder if Jodio has the birthmark. Because so far, we've only seen it on Dragona. It's possible that Dragona is from a previous marriage. We don't know. We just don't know. Anyways, and then this
that would
panel
be
here.
That would be a really interesting way to take this this series if Dragona is the real protagonist.
Yeah, I mean, it would be sort of like a Steel Ball Run thing, you know? We have what appears to be our main character, but then it turns out it's sort of the sidekick who ends up being the main character, or the one we thought was the sidekick.
It would also explain why Dragona seems to have the more versatile of their stands.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to need to see some more stand applications for November Rain before I'm ready to call it. Maybe he can do other things. Maybe he can make it rain hot coffee. That would be good for me right now. My coffee's already cold. Anyway, this panel where he's sitting there and he's got the cuffs behind his back and he says, "It's getting me pissed the hell off." Now, I like the Hiwa Matsunobu more than the Dog Park translations, but in the Dog Park translation, it says, "I'm about to lose my shit," which I like a lot more for Jodio. Anyway.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. I like how we have like 20 pages of this chapter. How many pages do we have? We've got the title page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25,
41.
26. We have 26 pages before he says, "It's getting me pissed the hell off." And then we zoom out, and then now we are at the Kona airport on the Big Island. And it says, Part 9, the JOJOLands. It's almost like that literally was the cold open for an episode of Breaking Bad. Because once we get past that opening scene, boom, title card. We get 26 pages of preamble, and then it says, Part 9, the JOJOLands. I like that. Anyway, Hot Dog Man. I'm going to keep calling him Hot Dog Man, even though now we know his name.
Yeah, it's Aloha Oi.
Usagi Aloha Oi. Anyway, so Hot Dog Man seems like definitely a Shigechi type character. Definitely like a what was his name? Joshu, fish sausages. Hot Dog Man reminds me of fish sausages, man. But he's actually already more useful and cool than those characters were during their introductions. So I'm not sure if he's meant to be a joke or if he's meant to surprise us by not being a joke when we thought he would be. Jury's still out on Hot Dog Man. Dragona already.
So the other thing is, like, they had to take a plane to another island to do this heist.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell is Jodio doing? What the hell are Jodio and Paco doing selling drugs right before the heist?
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, this has to have happened after the first cop battle, but before everyone's here at the airport for the heist, obviously.
Briefing.
Yeah. I don't know if it was before or after the briefing, but before makes more sense. I mean, after is like, okay, cool, thanks for the information, Meryl McKee. I'm just gonna go hang out in front of the fucking Hall of Justice and get my ass arrested. Like, you're a terrible operative. That's not a good idea at all.
Let's risk an arrest right before the biggest heist ever.
Yeah, we've got 4 stand users. Oh, hey, can I tell you about something that I really, this is an idea that I have had in my heart recently. So,
All right.
this girl I'm hanging out with, she really likes NCIS. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Oh, I never did, ever. I didn't know even what it was about. But I was hanging out there, and NCIS is on the TV, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's just like weird to me because it's like TV from 2005 that I have no knowledge of. And I kind of fell in love with it. I kind of watched like a lot of it, and now I have the rhythm of it internalized. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna write a spec script. I'm gonna write a fan episode. Like, I have it within me now. I can feel the rhythm of the show. I know how it's supposed to be written. And so, while speculating on, like, if I was gonna write a fan episode, what would I write about? I realized, wait a minute. There is an opportunity here that is untapped. What if you were to take a police procedural like this, and you were to inject JoJo stand mechanics into it? So much in the same way that we have a specific prison that stand users go to, we would have a specific a section of the police force, which is like dealing with stand crimes. Like, they should be able to tell, yeah, hang on a minute, this guy's turned completely inside out. Conventional weapons can't do this. This has to be a stand user. And because stand users attract each other... Wait, what'd you say?
I said no shit. No gun did this.
But like,
looking at the fucking inverted corpse.
So our point of view character would be like the liaison between the regular police and the stand police force. He wouldn't have a stand himself, but he would be the guy on the regular police force who goes to the crime scene and is like, I can just tell that this is some stand bullshit. I gotta call the Magic Crimes Division. You know what I mean? Like that cop in Persona 3 who knows about the kids and their personas and they're fighting shadows, so he sells them weapons. He himself doesn't have a persona, but he is like a member of society who is on the side of these kids who are like doing this stuff
like
in
the
background.
Speedwagon Foundation.
Yes, like the Speedwagon Foundation. Exactly. So, what do you think about this? Police procedural, stand crimes. I don't think any JoJo fan work is currently touching on this great fucking idea, and I feel like it would be really cool if done right. Stand Crimes Division.
I mean, it could work. I mean, I think there's shows about like super cops, basically.
Yeah, but I'm not...
Maybe not shows or comics or whatever.
But I feel like
graphic novels.
I don't want to do this in sort of a comic booky way, where it's like, you know, we got to get Superman on this.
You want specifically the vibe of a procedural.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think there's anything like that yet. No.
I mean, like, you know, NCIS always opens with a little cold open scene where you're just like watching some random character that we don't know do some random shit. And then at the end of that cold open, they always either discover a dead body or get killed. At which point we get and we get a little theme song, and then we cut back from the theme song to our main characters in the office getting word of this and going to the crime scene, and then we do the autopsy and we go and figure shit out. And also, I don't want to get midichlorians on this, but I feel like there should be some way to empirically measure whether a stand was used. You know, like maybe that's somebody's ability. Like, yeah, this is definitely stand magic, bro. I know it's just a regular gunshot wound, but there's no bullet, and that's because it's a fucking stand wound. Anyways, the point is, stand users are attracted to each other, and we constantly see this running theme in JoJo of like someone is using their stand to get ahead in life in such a way that's like they're pushing down and stepping on other people to get there, and we regard that as like unjust, and it's up to the Standotsukai wa Standotsukai rules to attract a good stand user to fight them and bring them to justice. So I feel like the same thing applies with people who have been getting away with it for a while in crimes. Like, that's the same thing. They're using their abilities for evil, and whether they like it or not, eventually they're going to attract the attention of other stand users, whether those be additional villains they could team up with, or the stand crimes division that I'm describing. There should be a guy whose ability in the stand crimes division is, like, he should have the powers of the detective that can view the history of objects that he eats. There should be somebody who can do a little flashback move.
I actually like when I was I was designing characters for a superhero thing that never really actually panned out.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of the people had an ability that was to basically rewind objects to a prior state and view the history of objects by touching them.
Wait a second, I just realized that's just King Nothing.
No, that's Crazy Diamond.
Oh, it's King Nothing in Crazy Diamond then. Because King Nothing can view the history of objects using his puzzle pieces.
Isn't King Nothing like it detects the residue of a specific object or whatever? Like the scent of something?
I don't know if the stand needs a scent to work and recreate a prior event, but he touched the flower pot and like a Jobin appeared out of puzzle pieces. So I think he viewed the history of who had last touched the flower pot.
Okay, well.
I don't know, but a King Nothing like stand would be great for a police procedural detective cop show. Anyway.
God knows it wasn't great for JoJoLands. They never used it.
Man. I mean, can I just say, like, Chapter 95 of JoJoLands, wherein there is the face-off between Norisuke and Jobin kills him at the end, and then whirls around to immediately threaten his siblings. That was still fucking peak for me. Like, sure, Toru is here, but he hadn't yet done the obnoxious shift into I am the end-all be-all protagonist, and I annoyingly tie into everyone's backstories, even though it doesn't make sense for me to. He hadn't yet done that, so it was still up in the air what was going to happen. Chapter 95 was a great fucking chapter. King Nothing gets to do something cool one last time. I mean, it was JoJo as fuck. That's always what happens. The character gets to do something with their stand really awesome one last time before they go out.
It's Abakio carving the face of
exactly.
Diavolo in
it's
the pillar.
It's Kakyoin shooting the water tower. No, it's Kakyoin shooting the clock tower from the water thing that he's smashed into. One last cool thing with their stand before they go. It's Shigechi using Harvest to get that button to Josuke. But it didn't happen that way. He's alive, Jobin's not, and that story just fucking ended bad and stupid, and we just gotta live with it. I have faith in the JoJoLands, though. I hope he's not going for as much. I think he went for too much in JoJoLand and wasn't able to get all those pieces to land properly. I think ambition caused JoJoLand's.
It certainly seems like he's sticking to a simpler story this time around, to the point where we basically have 1.5 chapters here, because the first half of this chapter was just the first half of the last chapter.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to take out the second encounter with the cops and the Breaking Bad thing, even though I don't want you to take that out, that's great. But if you were to take that out, all you would have to put into the first chapter is the bit about the antisocial personality disorder test, and we would have all the information that we would need on this kid. Like, we didn't really get anything new from that, other than the fun of him literally ripping off a scene from Breaking Bad. Which, might I remind you, he has always done. He always takes shit from movies and TV shows he likes.
Other than the fact that you kind of need the first chapter fight to introduce Dragona's ability.
Right.
I actually vastly prefer this version of it.
Really? I mean, like, it's fun.
I mean, like, as an introduction to the character, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the fucking, hey, get away from my big bro right now. I like that more. I think that was a cooler, more badass showing of the character and showing us what he does with his stand for the first time. I mean, I liked this one too, but it was dampened by the fact that it was like more of the same. It was not a unique usage of the stand. It's just what happened last time again. Also, I was really, really hoping he would send a really powerful raindrop down behind him to cut his cuffs, but we just leave him sitting there in the cuffs and we never see how he got him off. I guess that doesn't matter. Dragona could melt him. She could make him soft. Also, I just want to say, if Dragona is going to keep doing this and have a new outfit every chapter or every once in a while, that would be fucking great. I think this might be the same outfit that she was wearing at the fucking boutique. No, it's a little different, actually.
Well, it's a new outfit for the heist, but I don't know if she's gonna change every chapter.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I really like how in part 4 especially, our characters got, like, Rohan specifically. Like, Rohan has, like, several different looks. So does Jotaro. Like, Jotaro has, he has, like, a couple different coats that he wears in part 4. Anyway, whatever. I like it when our characters' outfits change at least a little bit. It makes it feel a little bit less like a cartoon, where everyone's like an action figure of themselves, and they must stay on model. And they feel more like people if they get to change their clothes. Anyway. So, we're talking about the heist. It was your job to get the car, dickhead. This is an island. We gotta catch the plane back in the evening, so we're in a hurry. It's only 1 p.m. Rental car place I know is safe. They've got cars with no onboard cameras and no navigation history, which is crazy because, it's 2023. It's not like, in the old days where a JoJo could just, like, rent a car and then it would just get, like, blown up in the desert and it's like, oh, well, let's leave the country. They'll never find us. We got to deal with technology, things like GPS now. Split the rental car fee. Yeah, what is this supposed to mean where he's like, let's do $30 each, we'll split it. I'm 17, Dragona-chan is 18, you're 19, and Jodio's 15. So Jodio is the youngest member of the team. This guy's definitely an addict. We're doing a promotion right now. If you bring your ticket, your next rental will have 1 day free, just $90. And then Dragona is sitting there doing the math. But what does that mean? Is he like, oh, guys, I got an in. I can get us a deal for cheap. But the guy's actually just, like, screaming about the deal to anyone who will listen. I don't know what we're supposed to take away from that. But they get in this cool fucking car, and then all of a sudden it's Final Fantasy 15 on the next panel. Like, we just got 4 motherfuckers
that's
rolling down the
Final Fantasy
highway,
15.
wind blowing in your hair. I really like Paco's design. I like the weird little things below his eyes, the weird, like, smudgy eyeliner thing that he has going on. I like Paco so far. I can't wait to see him in action. I can't wait to see what his personality is like. Anyway, some awesome little shots of Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, like, look at how much of these 2 pages, this double spread of the Final Fantasy 15 and the next one, look how much of this is just spent with Araki just illustrating, like, nature and scenery and landscapes. Like, he really did miss traveling.
Yeah.
This is what I like, though. This makes the world feel cool. Gives it a real sense of location and place. And then, like, our homies are just, like, stopped under a nice shady tree, taking a little rest. Dragona's laying on the hood. Hot Dog Man's gaming. I love this. I love that our group is just, like, right now, to them, it is not the end of the world in the slightest. Like, this is just another day to these guys. And I like that. Like, so far, the stakes are pretty low. Or so they think. But we just get to see them, like, before everything goes to shit. And before then, that everything that went to shit decides to hit the fan. We can just see them, like, on an average day. What they normally behave like. I think that's cool. Most JoJo characters, like, especially, like, the one-off characters that we meet, enemy stand users, we are meeting them on, like, the worst day of their life. You know what I mean? Like, they have intense mental anguish, and they're already at the end of their rope, and then they snap, and they're like, I'm gonna kill you. I like that we're just chilling with these characters. It feels very, like, the pacing is relaxed so far. It's like a hangout movie. It's like Jackie Brown.
Did I tell you about, sorry, I just gotta, because you're talking about, it feels like basically a slice of life almost.
A little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
So did I tell you about Avataro Sentai Dawn Brothers at all?
No, this is the first I'm hearing of that.
Okay, so it's the Sentai series before the current one, and it did feel like a slice of life Super Sentai series. Like everything there was no overarching villain. It's all like small scale issues. And, like, most of the episode is spent on, like, the interpersonal relations between these characters. And the fighting just takes a back seat to that.
And I like that approach because that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're here for the characters. Another Quentin Tarantino film that I think you should definitely watch is Jackie Brown. It's his third movie. It came after Pulp Fiction, and it is, again, a quirky crime thriller, but it's great. And the movie also centers around sort of like one big heist or one big exchange that our characters are like trying to make go down exactly right, and they just really have to thread the needle. Like everything has to go perfect or else we're fucked. And it's cool because the movie does a great job of giving you their plan in advance, but also leaving some tension. You don't really know what the whole plan is. But this moment right here where we're just kind of hanging out, it's like Jackie Brown is such a hangout movie. Sure, it's a quirky crime thriller, but we spend so much time in characters' apartments and in bars, just like sitting with them and just chilling while they explain their plans and while they try to figure out what the next direction to go is. Or even while they don't explain their plans, while they just sit there and smoke weed and watch TV. Robert De Niro is like just hanging out on the couch in that movie. He has such a tiny role. It's not tiny, but it's like he has such a non-glamorous role, Robert De Niro, in that film. He plays Lewis. He's great. Anyway, it's a hangout movie. This is giving me big Jackie Brown vibes. Next page. Yeah, I had a slow start this morning. I didn't have this much energy at the beginning of the podcast. Now I do. Coffee's working. This person is holding up in their house all alone. It's so nice out, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like they want to go outside. They might even not leave their home for the rest of the day.
Wow, relatable.
Yeah, jeez. Okay, so Jodio did some reconnaissance. There's a garden on the opposite side of the property. There are drinks on the poolside table. There were glasses, ice, ginger ale, and Kona coffee. There's a towel and an iPad on a chair. So they're not going to leave the property, but they're going to come out onto the terrace to swim. Da-da-da-da-da. Paco pulls out the map. Jodio, you're sure this person is alone in the house, right? Certain of it. It's just the Japanese person there right now. There's no sign of a family, a maid, an AC repairman, nothing. I like how they're worried about him having a gun. Like, it's a Japanese person. He won't be armed. Dude.
And then this odd line from Paco. Those Japanese folks are peace-loving people after all. And it's like, I hope that Araki's not like a Nanjing denier, because like
Shinzo Abe.
Historically, the Japanese folk have not been a peace-loving people.
I don't know. I think that's sort of the reputation that they've tried to have since that. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, like you were saying, sometimes they try to have that reputation in such a way where we just kind of pretend it didn't happen and sweep it under the rug. But I think that's the reputation that they've been trying to cultivate.
I just gotta hope that this line is just Paco being an idiot.
Yeah, I think this is an oversimplification by Paco. Wouldn't it be insane if Paco came out and said, those Japanese folks are a peace-loving people after all? I mean, if you look at their record, it's spotless. Never committed any war crimes, those guys. Never. None. Look it up.
Unit 731, what's that?
That's funny. I have an embarrassing amount of tabs open at all times, and I have a ton of Wikipedia tabs open, and I'm pretty sure one of them is Unit 7. Yeah, there it is! There it is. Unit 731, right next to the demo scene and the article for Genius. I have a weird, I just go on Wikipedia rabbit holes, and I open up a million tabs, and I just read a bunch of crap. And then, my appetite for reading random crap is exhausted, but I still feel like, well, I'll come back and I'll read these pages someday. So I've just got like a billion tabs open at all times. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. But then we get a sweet-ass Reservoir Dog reference when he decides, I want to be Mr. Pink. That's one of my favorite lines.
Colors for code names.
That's one of my favorite lines in Reservoir Dogs. When Joe is assigning the roles, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Black, Mr. Brown, Mr. Blue, Mr. Orange, and Mr. Pink.
There wasn't a Mr. Black. He said that the whole reason he was picking the color code names for them is you get 4 or 5 guys arguing over who gets to be Mr. Black.
Yeah, no, sorry, I did forget about that. Because I was winding up to when Steve Buscemi says, why do I gotta be Mr. Pink? And Joe says, because you're a faggot, I don't know. Like, he's just Like, let's skip all of the homosexual tension with nobody wants to be Mr. Pink. You're gay. Shut the fuck up. That's your code name. I love that Joe just steps over all the red tape. Anyway. Colors for code names. I'll call you Pink and I'll be blue. Pink-chan, you shut up. Anyway. There's a little cat that bounds off of the wall of the villa. And we're approaching it. We're getting closer. There's cameras. Yeah, and then we get the reveal of the Mate Kudasai. I want the camera. But, like, how is this... How is this better than just breaking the camera? How is this better than just, destroying it? I mean, I don't know if November Rain could even get it because it's kind of under a little outcropping.
Yeah, it's sheltered.
Yeah, I don't know if the rain could hit it from there. Maybe Jodio needs to team up with another character who can create strong winds so they can hit people with the rain who are standing under outcroppings. Alright. So the Mate Kudasai forms out of his hand and it hops over. Cute little chicken looking stand. It's hitting the gritty. I got one more thing for you, actually. Really short JOJOLands animation. Yeah, there we go. Check this out, guys.
I say right foot creep, oh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you.
I'm not gonna play it again because I don't want the music copyright, but I love their facial expressions. Dragona's like, oh, he's hitting the gritty. Jodio's got the fucking fingers around the eyeballs pose. No way. Anyway, I think this thing is really cute. I really like the stand design. It's just this little chicken guy that goes over and morphs into a duplicate of a thing for you. And I love how he does his cute little hop over there and then gong smacks directly into the wall. And then just starts running up the wall. Or climbing. I'm not sure. Anyway, but now there's two cameras, and one of them, the video is slightly wrong. Which, I don't know how that helps us, honestly. Like, wouldn't you just throw a rock at it? Like, Yahtzee, 0 punctuation, game reviewer man. You know this guy? You remember this guy?
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, I've been watching him for a long time. He has a thing that he always says in video games where he's like, yeah, well, and you get a stun power and a power to render people unconscious, and you get a power that picks people up and throws them at other people. But all of these take more steps than just aiming your gun and clicking. So, like, why would I ever want to use those? Because clicking on people's heads and rendering them dead is still the shortest and easiest and best solution. So why would I go through this roundabout path to, like, stun somebody? You're just giving me less efficient ways to do what I already was gonna do. And that's his, like, constant drum that he's banging, where it's like, you're playing a game and they give you just, like, 4 flavors of the same thing. And he's like, no thanks, I think I'll just stick to bullets. Appreciate it, though. So, this makes me think of that. Like, this is just breaking the camera with extra steps and not as useful.
This doesn't feel like the optimal way to use this stand, though.
Especially because, like, the real video is still there.
Which I guess is on brand because this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, if this guy is, like, an in-universe dipshit and he shouldn't have done this, and now, like, the thing he said about we don't know which one's the fake one so they can't use it as proof, if that's, like, true and he's an in-universe dipshit and he gets our characters caught, that would be awesome. But also, like, shouldn't there be, if there's security cameras at this villa, then shouldn't there be, like, proximity sensors? You know what I mean? Like, how are they gonna... Well, I guess they're not... We'll contend with that when they actually have to enter the house, because that would be the point at which, I don't know if you've ever lived like this, but in my old houses, usually there was, like, a thing where when you opened a door or a window, it would go beep, 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 like in the main body of the house. And there was, like, a little beep sound to let people know that, like, a door or a window has been opened. So if nobody's coming or going from the house and that beep, 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 beep happens, there's something wrong. Either the wind blew a door open or you got an intruder. So, I don't know, but, like, if the villa has cameras, wouldn't it have that, too? I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Also, why does the villa have cameras? Well, I guess if it's like a timeshare, if like somebody's not there most of the year, then I guess you'd want cameras to prevent people from breaking in when nobody's using it. Anyway, I'm thinking about this too much. I like this panel down here of, okay, let's head in. The right camera, all of our characters drawn slightly wrong. We've got Bagona, Jobio, Usabi, and Pablo. Anyway, and then we get to this page, which, this next page, right after, okay, let's head in. This page with the feet, and the tea kettle, and the chair, and the iPad, and the glass, and the person in the pool. This panel freaked me the fuck out, this double page spread, because in one more click of the right button, I'm going to see that it's Rohan Kishibe. But in this moment, when I was right here, I was like, oh my god, this could be anyone. This is it. And I spent some time on this page.
You know what? When I was actually when I saw this this panel here, I looked at it for a few seconds. I was like, flashback, man.
Come on. You didn't really think that, did you?
No, I didn't. But like, it was like that's who this looks like to me.
The panel of him swimming in the pool face down?
Yeah.
To me, honestly, and especially because, like, you can see sort of, like, his swim trunks, his underwear, the band of it has little stuff on it. I saw that, and that immediately made me think of the JoJo underwear that Gappy was wearing. And I saw this, and even though it's a stupid thing to think, I saw this, and I was like, oh my god, he's here! It's him! Josuke is here, and that's what his hair looks like. There's gonna be a reveal. We're gonna think this is just some guy, because of course we would never see Josuke's hair. And if you were gonna show us Josuke, you would never show us his hair first, because it's the one part of his character design that we would not recognize him by. Holy fuck, it's gonna be Josuke. We're gonna get a reveal of his hair. And I click the next panel.
I can't believe that under the hat he was Rohan Kishibe all along.
Oh, man. I mean, I don't care if it takes 50 chapters. We better fucking get The Legend of Johnny Joestar with Gappy. We better get to find out what happened to him. I'm going to be so upset if we don't.
This is especially weird, though, because, like, isn't this, like, the first time that Araki's taken a character from the old universe and imported them wholesale?
I was going to use that same word, wholesale. Because, yes.
Into the new universe?
I mean, yes. Exactly yes. And 100% yes. Because even the closest he's ever done to doing that before, alternate Diego Brando, it's still not Dio. It's Diego with Dio's personality and the world. But it's still not literally just a wholesale character scraped off of the original timeline and plopped down right here. This is the first time someone's name and appearance has been the same as their original universe counterpart. Because, like, we got Kira, but he looks different. We got fucking Josuke, I guess.
Johnny is not Jonathan.
Johnny is not Jonathan.
Gyro is not Caesar.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool? We spend, like, 90 chapters with Gyro, knowing him as Gyro, and then right at the end he confesses, my name is Julius Caesar Zappelli. I love that. I have a big soft spot for that. The trope of, that's not really my name. And the character only reveals their true name, like, much, much later. Or in a time of dire circumstances.
Joseph Joestar is not Joseph Joestar.
That's true. That's true. Well, because instead of being descended from big, strong, burly boy Jonathan Man and Arena, he's descended from skinny
Twink Johnny.
Yeah, he's descended from Twink Johnny. And you know, I still really think it was a huge missed opportunity to not have him use those big pouches that were on his hips and reveal that there were steel balls in there, making him the final spin user. But, you know, I think it was equally cool to reveal that he has purple
steel
hermit.
Ball clackers.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because people are like, duh, Araki forgot. And Araki literally has Joseph pick up the clackers and look at them and be like, why would I ever use these? Throw them over his shoulder and then attack with his stand. No, I didn't forget the clackers. They're not a good weapon, you idiots.
You know what that's kind of like? Is like, have you ever played the Ninja Theory Devil May Cry game?
No. DMC? No. I haven't played any of them, really.
are you familiar with the scene where like
Not a chance.
not in a million years.
Not in a million years. Yeah, no, I am familiar with that. And that's such like a... Look, Devil May Cry, or DMC, if I can call you that. I know you're kicking me while I'm down, but do you have to spit in my mouth, too?
I like how classy the clapback from DMC5 was. And that was like basically because, you know, the whole thing was an internal thing about like when they were developing DMC.
I know what you're going to say. Gay cowboys.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say.
You know, Dante is not a gay cowboy. And then like the fucking Dr. Faust weapon
Yeah.
introduction.
Yeah. The fucking Michael Jackson dance. Have you seen, there's a video of the guy playing the game and he's like, I don't understand this game. It's so fucking weird. Like, what is even happening? And then Dante puts the hat on and he starts doing the pelvic thrust, the Michael Jackson moves. And the guy just puts down his controller and takes his headphones off and storms out of the room. It's not for the faint of heart, buddy. It's not going to be for all of us.
God, Devil May Cry is such a great franchise.
I really haven't played them. But I have something else I wanted to talk about this page. Where he says, I know who he is. He's famous. I've got some books by him I see at home. I see his anime online all the time. So that right there. Do you remember the part in the Part 4 manga when Joseph asks Rohan, hey man, I can't really read Japanese. Are there English translations of your comics? I used to collect comics when I was young, but I can't read Japanese, so I can't read yours. And Rohan says, there are Taiwanese and French translations, but no English. I guess Americans just are too stupid. They can't grasp the subtleties of my works. And now, here we are in 2023 in JoJo and in real life. And Rohan apparently now has enough of a presence in America that Jodio recognizes him on sight. He's got an adaptation in anime form of Pink Dark Boy by now. I think that's so cool. Like, in the 20 years since 1999, which, you know, I'm going to assume Rohan was born in the same year. He just never met Josuke. Which is sad. That's sad to me. This is going to be a Rohan that never met Josuke and never got the character development of Part 4. But yeah, I like how Rohan's changed so much.
It would essentially be villain Rohan from his first appearance in Part 4.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's been having his own set of alternate universe SBR timeline, thus Bokashibe Rohan adventures, and, you know, he's grown into a different kind of person. But I don't know. I think Rohan is, like, good at heart, but, I mean, like, he was a villain when we first met him. But, no, I don't know. Is he going to be a villain to our people? Because when they said it didn't matter how many people we brought, it wouldn't have been enough. I was thinking somebody ultra powerful who's going to stop them. But Rohan can win in a completely different way, where they just won't even be able to attack him.
Do you think they're going to? Do you think that this version of Rohan Kishibe will have expanded abilities in his Heaven's Door?
No,
like,
I do
you
not.
know, the original universe Heaven's Door could control people. Do you think this one might be able to control anything?
I don't know, and I don't think so. I think the idea of cracking somebody open like a book and writing whatever you want in them is still, like, I think it's enough. You know, compared to Jodio's power, Heavy Rain, shit game, by the way. Jodio's power is, like, really simple, and I'm wishing for some more complexity there. I feel like Heaven's Door still has kind of like infinite limitless potential depending on how you write your story. I don't know that Heaven's Door really needs more abilities to be interesting.
But I mean also speaking of earlier we mentioned the possibility of a stand user who could read the history of an object, right?
Yeah, he can read the history of people. It would be cool if he could, like, you know, you could tap on the diamond and open up a little manual on the top of the diamond and tells him where it's been. Why does he have a diamond?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It doesn't actually. It seems like the least relevant part of the story now.
But yeah, that joke in Part 4 where he's like, maybe Americans just don't get it. that joke continues to age poorly as time goes on, because now JoJo is fucking huge in the West. English-speaking fans all know and love JoJo at this point, just like they know and love Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Demon Slayer, fucking whatever, you know? Everybody knows JoJo now. And it's reflected in that Jodio knows the in-universe JoJo. You know, Pink Dark Boy is like an analog for the manga that we're reading here in real life. Because, you know, when you see the pages of Pink Dark Boy, it's almost like, oh, these are totally stand battles that are happening, you know?
But I mean, on the other hand, does everybody who watches JoJo recognize Araki on sight?
No, but I
then
would.
Again, then again, Rohan is slightly more visually distinctive than Araki.
I mean, he's even wearing his trademark earrings despite being in the pool. Seems like maybe a bad idea. I don't know anybody who goes swimming with their earrings on.
Especially those ones. Those with a sharp tip.
Yeah. I've always liked those little pen tip nib earrings. I think those are cool. I think those are great. It's a wonderful little piece of design. It's understated. It's not too much. A lot of the time JoJo characters have random weird pieces of jewelry, but this is something I would actually see like an artist type wearing, you know, just these cute little pen nib earrings. Kind of pointy. Anyway. But yeah, for that one page right before he lifted his head, I was like, this is it. It's Josuke. They're trolling me and they're revealing him in the funniest way possible without his hat. But I guess I was thinking too much. There was no Josuke to be had.
Does Rohan have a fade at the bottom, or is that part of the headband thing?
He's got a fade. He's got like an undercut. You know, it's long on top and short on the sides. That's just how Araki draws him. But based on the guy in the TV drama, he does in fact have a fade. He's got an undercut. Man, let me show you that panel from Oh So Long Ago, because I just want you to see what Rohan looks like. Look at this shit. Look at Rohan, and then look at him in the newest chapter. Look at that shit. I mean, like, this is just a moment where I look at it and I'm like, wow, how far the JoJo art style has truly come. I mean, I know this isn't the most detailed page to compare it to, but, like, you know.
It's not. It's not really a good angle either.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
this part looks more like a beret on top.
At one point in time, this was a perfectly acceptable way to draw Rohan. This was good enough. And I just think that's funny, because look at the fucking utter beauty of the art we're getting today. Shit's incredible. Anyways, so what do we have to say about this one?
I mean, like you said, I hope we're still getting the check back in on Part 8 characters later on in the story.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am a little bit disappointed that it was Rohan as opposed to Joshu, Tsurugi, Yasuo, Josuke, anybody from Part 8.
But at the same
time,
this is a pretty big pop off, because like this is literally the first time that Araki has imported an original universe character wholesale into the Steel Ball Run universe.
Yeah, so it is exciting, and it is like, ooh, what does this mean? This bodes well for the future. This is an interesting start. But I do wish that it was somebody from Part 8, because I have so many unresolved JoJolian feelings, and I need Part 9 to fix them for me. But I don't know if that'll happen. So, how is Rohan here? What do you think? Because in my mind, the Joestar family tree happened differently, and so did the Kira family tree, and so did the whatever. But everything else has probably happened exactly the same.
So, I mean, that's a complicated question, because did Part 8 actually explain where stands come from?
No, other than just sort of gesturing back to Part 7 and saying, yeah, Devil's Palm. Other than
like that only applies to America.
Well,
to specific individuals who had the corpse parts.
Well, I mean, yes and no, Because I think that while the devil's palms that we have been familiar with were created by the corpse parts, and, you know, Johnny bringing the corpse to Morio, so he's created the ground of Morio, has become sort of a devil's palm. It has that magical property. He brought the corpse there and died and became a saint himself.
For a while, it seemed like you wanted the wall eyes to be related to the stand giving process, but that doesn't explain like 90% of the stands in the series.
Yeah, shout out to the bite marks. Man. Anyways,
Part 8 is a fucking mess.
It's a mess. It's a beautiful mess. It has the highest highs of any part of JoJo, in my humble onion, but it has the lowest lows. The lowest lows of not making sense and disappointing me. But it has the highest highs! JoJolian at its best is JoJo at its best, but it's also JoJo at its worst. It's rough. I don't know how to think about it. I wish it had just ended strong so I could just be like, yep, my favorite part, with no caveats, no asterisks. Unfortunately, that's not where we're at.
JoJolian disappointed me. See that you don't do the same, JoJoLands.
See that you do not do the same. Yeah. What was I going to say a minute ago? It was about JoJolian. It was about the ending. It was about fixing it. The Devil's Palms, yes. So, much in the same way that Part 8 expanded on the Part 7 thing that was set up about the Devil's Palms, I think that Part 8 has given us this idea of the blessings from the earth, blessed locations. You know, like, they were talking about the Locacacast being a blessing from the earth, the new Locacacast specifically, because it had, you know, a series of overlapping coincidences. It itself was a miracle. But, you know, I think this concept of blessings from the earth, these magical spots that rock humans are drawn to, and, like, they feel like the blessings of the earth are here for us. I think those could be, and, you know, it said that rock humans, the silicate beings that they are, almost 80% of them have stands. Like, they're just naturally more, have a natural propensity for being stand users, a natural aptitude for it. Far more than humans.
Which, I mean, like, we never actually see a rock human without a stand.
Yes, we have not
Unfortunately, yet. That would be really interesting.
Again, Wu Tomaki should not have had a stand. That should have just been something that he figured out how to do. And the scariness of that should have been, if this guy can do this and disassemble himself into tiny rock pieces but still be an alive person and maneuvering as tiny pieces, then that's so fucking scary. What if he teaches the rest of the rock humans to do this? We're going to be fighting piles of dust that we could just accidentally inhale and die. Like, it should have been scarier. It should have been like, holy crap, what if the rest of them learn to do this?
What do you mean? What do you mean they can all do this?
Well, I mean, then we would be fighting a totally different kind of thing. We'd be fighting Sandman from fucking Spider-Man 3. No, we wouldn't. But they would be able to disassemble and reassemble.
Yeah.
Anyway. I forgot where I was going with all that. Yeah, blessings from the earth. I think that rock humans are stand users because they have the silicate bodies and inherently they have aptitude for it. But also, I think that the blessings from the earth are devil's palms, just going by a different name. And I don't think every devil's palm has been created by the corpse parts of Christ. I think there are other spots in the world that have energy and power, and rock humans, A, are natural propensity for being stand users, and B, they know about the blessings from the earth. Those are sacred places to them. So I think that there's other ways for stands to manifest in this universe besides, mastery of one's craft or a devil's palm.
Because I was going to say, the holy corpse being buried near the Higashikata estate would explain why that entire family has stands. It would not explain why what's his name? Fun user.
Ojiro Sasame.
Yeah, why he has a stand. It wouldn't explain why Kira has a stand. Why Josefumi has a stand.
Or a birthmark. JoJolian's a mess. JoJolian's a mess. God damn it.
Wasn't Josephumi established as like an illegitimate child of Joseph?
That was our
And,
theory, but it was actually never commented on or confirmed. Like, Araki, I don't want to say he forgot, but he never did cycle back around to telling us what the deal was with Josephumi's birthmark. Because he got Kira's ancestry in there. He's like, yes, Kira is a Joestar.
It feels like the strongest theory we have at the moment.
Yeah, but then I mean, like, if he was going to confirm that, he would have done it in the Radio Gaga incident chapter. Instead, what he says is that some guy found Josephumi's slipper, his geta, however you say it, his geta, his Geta, his fucking wooden sandal slipper thing with the single thing. He found a discarded geta at the thing, and he was like, "Oh, Josephumi, that's a good name for a kid," and he just named his kid that.
Only Joestars have the Joestar birthmark.
Ignore that. That's a great fucking video. I mean, like, I have shit on Aeon Star before, because he's silly and dumb, and I don't like him, and he's a shit JoJo tuber. He's trash, I tell you. Trash! I don't know, but it's all just to be silly. I mean, he's made a good video right there.
He has weak JoJolion opinions.
You'd better go to a seller that sells weaker JoJolian opinions. Because my JoJolian opinions are too strong.
Not like ours.
Man.
Our strongest JoJolion opinions would kill you, fair traveler.
I'm so glad I made that video. I was talking to a friend on Twitter, and I jokingly quipped, "Dude, my JoJolian opinions would kill most men in an instant. They would kill a mortal man just from a whiff of them." And then I realized, wait, that's Potion Seller. And then a few hours go by, and here we are. Anyway. What else do we have to say about this one?
Do we have anything else we're trying to say about this chapter?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like, I kind of,
I'm conflicted on it. You know? Because...
I wish we had spent the whole page count on the heist and that we had gotten further.
But
also, the stinger with Rohan is surprising and cool, so that kind of had to be the last page.
The first half feels like, basically a do-over, and then the second half culminates in a reveal that I don't know how I feel about.
I'm not sure also how I feel about it, but I think cautiously I'm happy about it. I think I'm stoked. Because, like, what is Rohan gonna say to these kids? You know? Like, this is a Rohan who's never met Josuke, and who didn't have any of those adventures in the Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan spin-off. Like, this is a Rohan where we don't really know what we're getting from him. I don't know what his personality is going to be like. I don't know what he's been through. I don't know what his reaction to these children are going to be. But, when they... Dude, his stand might even not be Heaven's Door. I mean, of course it is. But, like, right now, we don't know anything about this Rohan. And it's not going to be the same Rohan. I'm sure he's very similar. His name and appearance are exactly the same. But he didn't have any of the adventures that we've seen him have, either in the spin-off or in Part 4. So I don't know what this guy's going to be like. I'm sure his reaction to the children will be like, "You crazy kids, get off my lawn." And then they're going to try to stand attack him, and he's going to be like,
"Whose children are these?
Whose children are these? Hey, yo, come pick up your kids." Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in these early parts of JoJoLands, I'm not sure what to say because I don't have 80 chapters worth of build-up, and I don't have 80 chapters worth of speculation that I've been wanting to get out there. You know? What do I speculate on from just these 2 chapters?
Have you seen the JoJo but really fast videos at all?
JoJo but really fast? No.
That's a channel called Viva Reverie. And basically, they're animations. They're like short little things. Here's
I'm looking it up. Oh, I see.
Check that out when you have an opportunity.
Okay, gotcha. Man, these are getting slower and slower. There's one that's Phantom Blood but really fast. It's like 3 minutes. And then the one for part 3 is 12 minutes, and the one for part 5 is 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, that's because the parts are getting, like, longer and denser.
But I mean, like,
There's more
also,
going on.
I'm certain that this man who makes these animations is like, oh shit, people
Woman.
want more?
Woman.
This woman who makes these animations are like, oh shit, people want more? Cool, then the next one's gonna be 20 minutes long. You gotta get that viewer retention. Speaking of viewer retention, I still want to make a video about JOJOLian. Aeon Star was gonna make a big retrospective video.
I thought that was your video about JOJOLian.
The potion seller?
Your strongest takes would kill us.
Yeah, no, I got comments on that video, people being like, so what are your JOJOLian opinions? And I'm like, they would reduce you to ashes in an instant! You
Also,
cannot
check
handle
out
them.
our podcast.
Yeah, I said they would reduce you to ashes in an instant, but if you really want to know I had a podcast, you can go listen to that. But, yeah. I do want to make still, like a JOJOLian retrospective video. Like, I have
something with a more condensed take on the manga.
Aeon Star did a 2-hour video rambling on his stream about JOJOLian, about his feelings on it. But that video comes in lieu of a long, actually scripted retrospective that he promised. And then that he's now like, nah, I'm not going to make that. It's too hard. It's taking a toll on me mentally. I don't know what to write. Fuck it. You guys are going to get this stream video, and that's the JOJOLian retrospective. And I was like, boo! Hack fraud. People don't want stream ramblings. They want scripted content. And he was
That's
like,
why.
he responded to me on Twitter.
Nobody watches our podcast.
Yeah, no, they want scripted content. They don't want ramblings. But I responded to him on Twitter because he was like, why do people keep asking about the video? It's up. It's right there. That's the JOJOLian retrospective. And I was like, I don't know if this guy's playing dumb, but like I'm just going to give him the answer. And I was like, hey man, it's because nobody wants to listen to stream ramblings. They want scripted content. I know that's not what you want to make right now, but that's why people keep asking, because they want something other than what you delivered. And he was like, yeah, I get it, but I'm just not going to make it. I can't do it. Like, it was taking a toll on me mentally. And I was like, all right. And I posted the gif of Thanos. Fine. I'll do it myself. And he said, hey, take a crack at it. You're free to. So, I am going to make a JOJOLian retrospective video. It might be like an hour long, or it might be 15 minutes if I can condense all my points. But I'm going to reread JOJOLian and do a little bit of writing. I'm going to write a little script. I'm not going to just do bullet points. I'm going to write out a little fucking script for me to follow. And, I will make this thing, and I am going to rub it in his face that I made it and that he couldn't. Ha 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 ha. And it's because I'm a bad person who doesn't have respect for other people's feelings. I'm gonna make the video that he was gonna make, and then I'm gonna be like, look, I did it, why couldn't you? Because I'm just a bad person. But I'm going to do that. I'm aware that it's rude, but I'm going to do it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, look forward to that, and on my channel, in the meantime, you can look forward to fuck all. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, everyone!